About the Birds provides you with weekly analysis, game recaps, informative interviews, and it's all birds all the time.
And what's going on, everybody? We're here to talk about some Philadelphia Eagles 2026 NFL Draft recap. Of course, we're going to talk all the draft picks. Gonna get into that, plus also the big move, big splash that they made as well on Friday night. So we're going to get into all of that. We'll save the undrafted mini camp or rookie tryouts, all that stuff until the next show on Wednesday night to break down that once that's officially announced, and if anything else comes down the road in the next couple days. But Matt, we finally had the NFL draft. We had the Eagles make their selections, 8 selections in all, and started off with a pretty big splash, trading up with the Dallas Cowboys and selecting Makai Lemon.
Dude, did not see that coming. I don't think anybody. The Steelers sure shit didn't.
Yeah, Steelers were on the phone with them, so they thought they had him, and the Eagles jumped up.
What a wild sequence. He's on the phone with the Steelers, and then all of a sudden he goes, "Why is Philly calling me?" And they had to buzz the agent. The agent was like, "Yo, Philly just traded up. They're gonna take you." Very wild. I don't think there was anything malicious by it. I just don't think they were like, the Cowboys aren't taking a receiver, so
yeah. So they didn't think. They thought, "Oh, it's right, falls right in our lap," and it.
I've heard rumors that that Dallas may have tipped them off. There's that. Listen, I don't know how true this is, so I don't want to spread rumors, but I'm going to. And apparently, there's some bad blood between McCarthy and the Cowboys, and stealing assistant coaches and stuff like that. And Jerry is a spiteful.
Interesting.
Old man, and may have tipped the hat. I don't know how true it is, just what I'm hearing. But what a wild pick, man! Great pick. And we said it on the show 1 or 2 weeks ago. Where they go wide receiver is going to tell us a lot about the future of AJ Brown.
Well, I think it told us.
If it wasn't already apparent, I think it's a foregone conclusion here.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree with you there. So they get Lemon. And then I love the pick. Again, we'll see how everything works out. We'll look in the next coming months.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
So I didn't do a lot of homework on Makai Lemon because I didn't think he was going to be there. Similar to Jahad Campbell, right? I didn't think he was going to be there, and I didn't think they'd pick wide receiver in the first round because I didn't think anybody would be worth it at the 20 to 23. And so I didn't do a lot of work on him. I didn't do a lot of work on Jahad Campbell. They make a surprise and pick there. He's not the from what I can see. Again, in limited time between Friday and now, Thursday and now. He's not a speedster. He's not he's not going to kill you with speed. He's not going to kill you with his height. But he's got steel trap hands. 3 drops in 2 years. And he's apparently a route technician, right? So, where do you see him fitting in?
The way that I see it is I think he's going to fit into that slot mold. To me, as we look at it, AJ's out of the picture.
What?
He's dealt, yeah. So you have Devontae and you have Makai Lemon on the inside. And then I think you could put a Hollywood Brown on the outside. The other outside. But the way that I honestly see it is I feel they're going to have a lot of movement. There's going to be a lot of shifts, and the way that the offense, whether it's Green Bay or San Fran or whatever, Rams, you're going to see a lot of that. And they're going to me, I think you can kind of use him in the mold of how some teams like Detroit Lions use Amon-Ra St. Brown, and how you have those type of guys who are route technicians being able to work their way open because of the way that they run the routes.
One of the things I agree, and one of the things that I keep hearing about him is that he's a technician in zone, which is one of the big weaknesses in the offense last year, specifically with AJ Brown. Like AJ Brown mentioned, I'm not good against zone. He's incredible against man. You put him in man, it's almost a guaranteed first or touchdown.
Yeah.
So I feel like that might have been an emphasis this year to find someone who can find those weak spots, those blind spots on the receivers at the top of their stems. I heard someone say, an analyst, that they think they're going to use him the way that McVay uses Puka, by putting him in motion, putting you in bad position. I just want to see him go in motion and run through the C gap like on Andre Brown and just hit like a seam route. Like that's all I ask. Just give me that. So I didn't want to derail here, but it's an interesting conversation on how that room's going to look now that he's here and AJ may or may not be.
Well, the way you have laid that out is when you look at on night 2 and in the second round, pick 54, they go ahead and select Eli Stowers from Vanderbilt with their selection. And like, he's not the biggest tight end, but he's a freak athlete. And I think another one, when you take a look at it, where he can be kind of played is a number of different areas. And it's going to be a fun concept to see how they use all these guys. And I thought it's a great pick. They needed a tight end. We know that there's nobody under contract after next year. So getting a guy like Eli Stowers, gets you that, can learn all that good stuff.
Yeah. And I will say that I think the Goddard taking a step back and blocking, I think is an exception, not the rule, right? Like I don't think that's something we should expect this year. I don't know why he took a step back in that particular phase of his game, but I would expect him to get better in that regard. And the other thing I'm hearing is that they love Munt. Like Munt is going to be their Jack Stoll. He's going to be their blocking bully. Like we're going to see a lot more Munt than we think. I'm interested to see that, but I've heard from multiple people like he is going to be your tight end too in blocking, like especially in blocking situations. But I've also seen people saying that Stowers was being viewed as a wide receiver at one point.
Yeah, I did see that as well.
And the way he runs routes, I don't know if you saw that cut up. I think I sent it to you that, but like he looks a lot like Zach Ertz when he runs that quick out.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's like, it's like his blocking can get better. We know that. Like he's 240 pounds. So he's gonna have to add a little bit to that. But listen, he's a dynamic weapon, and you essentially what you need to do is get him mismatched on defenders, and it's what they're going to do. And hey, I'm all for that. I thought it was a great pick.
Than Calcaterra. That's impossible.
No, that's true. But we were told that they were going to look to get younger on the offensive side of the ball, and you see them drafting Makai Lemon, you see them drafting Eli Stowers, and I'll get to the trade they made too right after that Stowers pick. But I want to talk about the third round pick before we get into then the final day of the draft and those handful of picks. But they get 6'9", 346-pound Markel Bell, who played left tackle for Miami, and I thought it was a great pick. He is very light on his feet. Of course, he's going to need some tutelage from, of course, Chris Cooper is the new offensive line coach. So we'll see how that all comes into play. But he is a young player, but he's a guy who's a massive human being, and he doesn't have to step in right away, can learn everything like along the lines of that. But I thought it was a great pick, especially when you saw the run of offensive linemen and offensive tackles that were happening.
Yeah.
They went ahead at 68 and selected Markel Bell.
Yeah, I love that. Part of me after we didn't go offensive line in the first round was thinking maybe they're a little bit more comfortable with Cam and Hinton than we thought.
Yeah.
But I like the fact that they didn't sit on their haunches here. They were like, let's get an absolutely massive athlete and see what we can do. I mean, he's very much obviously he's a different he doesn't come with the same draft pedigree as a Mekhi Becton, but very similar, right? Like absolutely massive person. I think he might actually be bigger than Mekhi Becton.
I think he is.
Which is insane to say. I'm interested to see if they look at him as a guard, tackle, cross train.
It's going to be interesting to see what they do there because 6'9", that's pretty big for a guard. But again, Leonard Davis was able to do it and do it at a high level, and he was 6'8", 360 pounds. So, we'll see with that. But I thought it was a great move getting a young offensive lineman. Again, they stayed on the offensive side of the ball there. And then they go ahead and they make that big trade with the Minnesota Vikings for Jonathan Greenard, trading pick 98 and trading 2027 third for Greenard. And was it a fourth? Because I keep seeing third and fourth everywhere. So I don't know. To me, I feel like it's going to be.
I haven't seen the official statement from the Eagles. I wonder if they put that out there.
I think they put it out there, and they put it out as a 2027 3. But if they get a comp pick, it's probably going to be the comp pick. It's probably like there's stipulations in there.
It's the comp pick from Jalen Phillips.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna say there. And then the Eagles got Greenard and a 7th rounder,
dude, for next year for
next year. Yeah. And they signed him to a 4-year, $100 million deal,
which is cheaper than you would get for Jalen Phillips.
Yeah, or a player of his caliber in free agency who is a little bit older than Jalen Phillips.
Yeah.
So
and the way you think, like this is girl math here, right? But like Jalen Phillips leaves for a $30 million a year contract.
Mm-hmm.
He gets you back a third or fourth round pick, right? You traded a third last year for him. You're essentially trading a third
that you got from Milt Williams,
or selecting a third, right? Like it was a free pick.
Yeah.
Right. Like we weren't accounting for it. It was extra money. It was money we got for a return at Lululemon that we're going to spend at Ulta, right? Like girl math here. But like, you're essentially getting him for free, really, if you think about it. Like, obviously, it's a weird way of saying it because those are picks and those are valuable assets, but you're getting a stud cheaper than you would pay Jalen Phillips. He might not be as good against the run, but he's a lot more disruptive. And you're giving up 2 comp picks. You know what I mean? Like, I think on paper, when you're like, 2/3, like that's pretty steep. It's not. I don't think it's as bad as we think.
But you get your starting edge rusher. They needed a starting edge rusher, and they got that. So,
like, if he didn't have a down year last year, he's going for more than third.
Yeah, no doubt.
I mean, he's a stud.
Yeah,
I mean, he's
absolutely
third highest pressure rate in the NFL.
Yeah, and now he gets to play alongside Carter, and he has Davis and Jalex Hunt, Nolan Smith. So. It's going to be
and plus you got Jahad Campbell and Bond behind you going on sim blitzes and
to me I just think it was a hell of a move. You get that veteran edge rusher who has a pass rush pedigree, who knows how to get after the quarterback and finish. So to me, I'm all for that.
I agree. That's my favorite move of the draft, to be honest with you.
So
he's got a sweet helmet set up too.
Yeah, he does, which I know you have talked about that. About how those wings are.
I'm not usually a fan of the Vice's trench, but it looks mean as shit. And we've never had one of those. I don't know if anybody here follows me. I put a post out today about how they're going to handle the decals on the helmet. I have no clue. I'm really interested to see, but like, we've never had a player wear a Vice's trench on the Eagles, so I'm really, really interested to see how it looks. That's my helmet aesthetic nerd tangent, but I think it's sweet. I think it's a sweet setup.
So then we get day 3, and we take a look at what the Eagles did. I'll just run through all the picks, and then we can discuss kind of basically who we liked and give us a little bit of some tidbits for the Eagles picks. So as basically what happened was they made the trade for Makai Lemon. They got rid of a couple of 4th rounders. They didn't have any 4th round picks. So they go into the day, and they had to wait, for basically the 5th round. And they go ahead and they select in the 5th round at pick 178 Cole Payton from North Dakota State. Then the rest, they made another trade to trade down to get a couple more 7th round picks. 6th round pick at 207, they picked Micah Morris, guard, big, massive guard out of Georgia. And then their round 7 picks were safety Cole Wisniewski from Texas Tech. Defensive tackle with 251, UR Bernard, the international player pathway program from Nigeria. And then the last pick, they picked edge rusher at number 252, Keyshawn James-Newby.
Yeah. Hell of a day 3, in my opinion. I think we knew a quarterback was coming in some way, shape, or form. I didn't know if it was going to be that earlier. I also didn't know that Cole Payton was a lefty.
Yeah, I knew he was a lefty. But I watched a couple of North Dakota State games, and always making plays. That was one major thing you saw when you watched him play, was he was always making plays. He's
like a cross between Taysom Hill and Carson Wentz.
Yeah.
And only Carson Wentz, because he ran that same scheme and he's white. Played for North Dakota State. But I heard someone call him White Vic, which I thought was hilarious. Dude, he's intriguing. I wonder, it'll be fun to see if they put any trick plays in him for him. And if they use him in the tush push instead of Jalen.
Yeah, I know a lot of people brought that up. That was an interesting thing to think about with him in the tush push.
Yeah. Micah Morris was a steal, in my opinion.
No sacks, didn't give up any sacks
in his career at Georgia.
Yeah.
In the SEC, at Georgia.
And I think too is
impressive.
You take a look at that Georgia offensive line. I think he kind of got overshadowed with all the other names because there was how many different draft picks in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And he just was steady, solid player that.
Yeah. But I mean, and he's not he's not small, but he's not huge. He's very, I feel like Stout would have loved him because he's almost exact same build as Brandon Brooks.
Yeah.
6'5", 334. And he's got that sounds like a big fatty in the middle, right? but I don't know that I've ever seen this in a guard. He's got veins popping out of his biceps. He's
strong dude.
He's jacked. He's strong. He moves really well in space. If I were Tyler Steen, I'd be a little worried. And I wonder if the addition of him and some of these UDFAs that we'll get into on Wednesday, I wonder if they make him more expendable for some 2027 picks.
I thought about that too.
Looking, he's not a Mannion guy.
Yeah.
Right.
No, it is definitely something I thought about. I was potentially, hey, maybe you can get, a mid to late round draft pick for him. I would not be surprised. And I do think it's in their future of looking at seeing what they can get in terms of adding a couple of picks to that 2027, just to make sure that they have it. And also in case something comes available that they're able to deal those. So again, definitely something that they're going to have their eye on, and, we're all fine with that. The one player, because I'm going to leave you with the international player to talk about. Cole Wisniewski. He was a player, watching him at North Dakota State, because I saw him playing, watching some of their games and everything. And, he played linebacker there, but you can see the speed he had and was all over the field. And then he transfers, and I'm like, oh man, I'd love to see Penn State grab him. But he goes to Texas Tech as a safety. He's 6'3", 219, big safety. But he comes down and he hits you. And again, it adds a
he runs
exciting. He does, and he adds another exciting white to the secondary for the Eagles.
Exciting whites. I'm sure Coop's a little weary of that, but they obviously have a type at safety. I mean, they picked up Cole. Well, they picked up Cole, and they picked up a Large, right, as a UDFA.
Yeah, Tucker Large.
But a lot of white dudes in that secondary. I really liked him. I brought him up to you kind of late in the process because I was looking at late round safeties. I don't know how well he covers. I think but then again, Reed Blankenship wasn't exactly like Mr. Man coverage, right? So I think he's at the very least he's going to be a special teams contributor. Might even be able to play a little dime linebacker in there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, at the very least, he'll be very fun to watch in preseason.
Oh, no doubt, it'll be fun to watch.
Yeah, and add a little depth there. I mean, when he hits you, he hits you. And I thought he played pretty well in the All-Star game. He had a really nice breakup, I remember, on a quick out in the end zone. So he's definitely intriguing. Not the safety that we were hoping for with ENW being right there, but I don't think they're done at that position, by the way. And
I don't think so.
How he basically said, like,
he made it kind of clear when he said on the press conference,
we're gonna keep looking to improve. And we can get into this on Wednesday, but just to tee it up a little bit, put it in the back of your mind here. I think you got to look at the teams that drafted safeties this year and the safeties that have 1 to 2 years left on their contracts.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple that I've heard through the grapevine that they're interested in, the Eagles. I don't know if a trade will happen, but there's some interesting names out there. You got to look at guys like a Grant Delpit and who the aforementioned.
You got to keep these nuggets for Wednesday.
All right, we'll keep it. But listen, there's some guys out there that we should be looking at. And good point. We'll keep them hungry, keep them thirsty. I gave you a little tease.
Go ahead. You can talk about UR Bernard,
dude,
the physical specimen from Kenya. No, not Kenya, Nigeria. The other guy they got with UDFA, which we'll talk about.
We went hard at Africa this year, but all right. So just to give you some background, I'm sure everybody knows about him by now, but if you're listening, 6'4.5", almost 6'5", 306 pounds, 6% body fat. 6% body fat.
That's ridiculous.
Almost a 40-inch vertical, a 10-10 broad jump. And for those of you who don't know what a broad jump is,
that's fucking insane.
You're standing still, you're not getting a run, and you're jumping straight forward and out.
That's insane.
He jumped almost 11 feet straight out from a stand.
Oh my God.
Which is 14 inches more than any other defensive tackle at the combine.
Jeez.
He also, at 306 pounds, ran a 4.63 40.
Oh my God. That just.
So to put that into perspective, that's like a slow safety and or linebacker, right? Like that's legitimate speed coming at you at 300 pounds.
Now again, he is a project because he's never played the sport. So, you let him.
Holy shit. Like if you're looking for traits and you're looking for athletic score, I mean, I'm pretty sure he was a perfect 10.
I think he was.
From a RAS perspective, which is insane. And granted, he's never played football before. However, he has been training for 3 years. He's been training with renowned defensive line coaches in preparation for this. And he's also, I don't know if this is out there or not, but like Mailata spent a lot of time hanging out with the IPP players this year.
Yeah.
He's kind of become that ambassador in the face of that program. IPP meaning the International Pathway Program. And what that means is these are players from different countries that don't necessarily have the opportunity to showcase their skills or their traits that they otherwise would have in a college, right? Like Jordan Mailata is a perfect example. He came from a rugby background. Nobody knew who the hell he was, but he had really, really impressive traits, and something Stout saw and obviously liked. Clint Hurt obviously saw this dude and was like, dude, give me this ball of clay to work with. The guy works out with trees. Like he's using trees as tackling dummies. The guy, it's hard not to get excited about this. I think we have to temper our expectations like we did with Mailata.
Yeah, we know he's a project, but hey, the sky's the limit when you take a look at potential there. There's a lot of potential. It just has to be tapped into.
And if there's a team that knows how to mold these kinds of players, it's the Eagles. Yeah. Now it's a much different position. You don't have a Jeff Stoutland, but it's hard not to be excited about that pick and see what happens.
You don't have Jeff Stoutland, but you give me Clint Hurt with this guy. Clint Hurt is one of the best defensive line coaches in the NFL.
That's what I'm saying. I think he's in the perfect position. And when he blew up, when he went viral for his workout, you and I both said this screams Eagles.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But, and then once they trade, it's funny because once they traded and got those extra 7th round picks, I'm like, oh man, you got to take them with one of these picks. And they did.
My chats, if you could search my chats, you'd see Uar like 85 times on Saturday. Just like how excited I was about the prospect of just seeing what he can do. For a 7th round pick, like why not?
Exactly.
But, I will say that his relationship with Mailata, I think, had a lot to do with that. And I think it's really cool that Jordan's willing to take on that mentor role and see if he can maybe help him unlock that.
Yeah, and then then the next pick is Keyshawn James-Newby, who shined a little bit at the East-West Shrine game. Yeah. A smaller edge rusher. He's only 6'3", 244, but he had a tremendous pressure rate for New Mexico. And to me, it's just he's a guy. Yeah, he's a little undersized. Yeah. He can get after it. So we'll see. Maybe it's something that could end up on the practice squad or a player that you can potentially mold. So it's just something. It's a interesting pick there. I'm excited to see. To me, I'm excited to see these guys in camp, and then you take a look at the preseason games and everything. So, it's a fun thing to look at when you take a look at these young guys and building the roster and how these guys are going to fit in.
So, and I 100% agree. You and I love these 6th and 7th round picks because it's like, why not? You're betting on traits at that point.
Yeah.
But to your point with Keyshawn James-Newby, which we have to figure out a nickname for him. I mean, he graded out really well. I know PFF is kind of whatever, but it's a good way to kind of gauge how people do, I guess. But 80, he had almost a 90 grade overall. He ranked out as 19th out of 852 edges. His pass rush grade was a 92.7, which was 4th out of 852 edges. And he had 66 total pressures, 9 sacks, 48 hurries, 9 hits, and then had 30 solo tackles in the run game. Plus, he had 3 forced fumbles. So, it's New Mexico. He's not playing in a Power 5 here, but he kicked up when he did, and that's all you can ask for when you're looking at 5th through 7th round picks, day 3 guys. So I like the upside. I wonder if he has. I think he has a really big hill to climb to make the roster, though. Think about it. Think about that room right now.
Yeah, he does.
You have Greenard, you have Hunt, you have Nolan, you have Shreyanka, you have
you got a lot of vets. Again, to me, it's his goal would be to try to show some flash that they can then add you to the practice squad, and you get yourself
maybe Patrick Johnson.
Yeah,
right.
So it should be fun. I'm interested with it. I love it. Again, we're going to talk on Wednesday about the UDFAs and rookie mini camp, and if there's any signings or trades or whatever goes on the next couple of days potentially. But I want to thank everyone for joining us as always. We always want to make sure you're subscribing, make sure you're following everything down at the bottom there, and make sure you hit the link tree. But just wanted to do this quick. We got to talk about the draft. Always after the draft, we usually do, but we want to thank everyone for joining us.
When do we usually get numbers? Right before minicamp, right?
The rookie minicamp, you'll see some numbers. So
when is that? Mid to late May?
I thought it was the second week of May.
So mid. It's fine.
Okay, yeah, I guess it would be mid-May.
That's hold, please. Yeah,
I tried looking it up too before, and I didn't see anything. I just kept seeing.
Yeah, I don't see a date, but
yeah, I think it's in the middle of May, maybe beginning of May. I don't know. It'll be next month, so we know that.
OTAs are late May, early June, I think.
Okay, but the rookie mini camp and the tryout stuff, I believe that's probably. I wonder if that's this week.
I don't know. I gotta check this out.
Yeah, we'll have to check it out, and we'll get back to everybody.
Right, so rookie mini camp began on May 2nd of last year.
Okay, so probably next week. The end of the end of this week coming is beginning of May.
Yeah,
so
yeah, May 2nd is Saturday.
Yeah, so it's probably going to be the end of this week.
Yeah, I would guess the 3rd and 4th, maybe.
Yeah, so we'll see. We'll hopefully get some numbers there. But with that, as I always do, and we always do, always end it with a very happy and joyful Go Birds.
Hey guys, it's Jabo. Some people call me Jabo Philly. I'm here with Big Dom, and check out All About the Birds. Go Birds.
Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Ian. Make sure you're following All About the Birds. I absolutely love their content.
Just wanted to give the guys over at All About the Birds a huge shout out.
Hey, for all the Eagle content you need, go follow All About the Birds. They do a damn thing. Check them out.
Hey Eagles fans, I may be in Tampa, but I know where to find the best Eagles content out there. Check out my friends at All About the Birds.
Philadelphia, what's up? This your boy Freddie Mitchell, a.k.a. Fred X. It's all about the birds.
All birds all the time. All birds all the